in order to be the man that you want to be, you have to be the man that you want to be. That's so simple. And I'm like, in order to be that person, you just have to be that person. Like, you're not gonna be that person that you see and visualize like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you keep, you know, emulating that person, let's say a year from now, you will be that person. So just ask for it, receive it, and you are it. As simple as that.
Welcome to Media Mondays. I'm T.brown, and I'm here with amazing, I'm gonna just say overall artist, because I feel like everything he does is an art form. We got DJ, rapper, singer. He has merch for you.
I have that now. I'm a photographer.
Amazing photographer. He does such great film. He captures the energy, and it just, he won't take that many, but the ones he takes, they're gonna hit.
Sharpshooter.
When it comes to your project Expressions, why did you name it Expressions? And what do you feel like is something you're afraid to express?
During the time that I was like putting this together, this Expressions actually wasn't supposed to be the first project, but then there was a string from like September to October where I had wrote like 4 love songs. So there was a couple of songs that were gonna be on the original project, and I was like, let's take these songs and just make a, you know, consistent love project. And that idea came to me at the end of October, so then I had from October to February to like put that together. And that was a cool, you know, turnaround time, you know, really saw what I'm able to do when I, you know, sit and tackle it. But because of the love songs and the different stories that they were telling, like I dived into like Eros and like who that person was, and like how you have to express yourself. No matter what you feel, it could be romantic, platonic, you know, you have to be able to express yourself, because if you don't, the person on that other side is not going to know what it is that you're feeling.
Nobody can read your mind.
Nobody. And that's what over like the last 4 to 5 years, I would find myself in situations where maybe I wasn't expressing myself properly, or the person that I was dating wasn't expressing themselves, so it would cause us to like misunderstand each other and find ourselves in a space where we just weren't seeing each other.
Yeah, you're just not seeing eye to eye.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? So like, I wrote these songs like about my different situations within love in the last 4 or 5, even past 5 years. I feel like with a lot of music right now, people aren't like really yearning, you know what I'm saying?
Niggas are not yearning anymore. Niggas are not yearning.
You know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to put out a project and put out music that expressed that, because like if I'm doing that in real life, like, you know, if I'm dating, I have no problem like doing certain things just because I feel it. It doesn't always have to be, you know, you met this specific standard and I'm gonna do it. Like if I feel inclined to do it, I might do it, you know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't work out in the long run, okay, cool. But it's not just me doing it as well. It's like, okay, I felt something in me to make me want to do this, so I'm gonna do it. Exactly. Same with the way you express yourself. If someone gives you a feeling to express yourself, do that.
Yeah.
But there's different ways that you express yourself. Exactly. So like, this woman could make me feel this way and it feels good, but this woman can make me feel this way, it also feels good, but it's 2 different feelings. So with the music on it, there is some, I would say, pop, there is rap, there is R&B, there is some folk, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, different situations can have you expressing yourself in different ways. Absolutely. It could all lead you to the same thing and same emotion, but it's, you know, it's different feelings about it. So that's why it's titled Expressions, because there's different ways in which one could express themselves.
Yeah. I feel like music right now isn't focused on loving women or loving each other at all. There's not enough. Like it's there, and you see that those songs are what's successful right now. Like if you get women to like your music, period. Like it's a hit.
Right.
But there's a lot of music I feel like is really catered towards men, or catered towards like fuck bitches get money, and like I feel like that we've been saying that like forever, you know? And why do you feel like that is?
I don't know. I really don't. I've had my thoughts on it, and like I feel like this generation, maybe generation prior to us, we were told like you gotta have certain things together before you're able to like be with a woman, and like, you know, tend to those things, which is true. Like you don't, partially I feel, you don't want to bring a woman fully into your life until like you have certain things together.
Get your priorities in
Yeah,
order.
exactly. Like you want to be able to, you know, take care of a house and like do the things that you need to do within the house before you fully bring a woman into that. But that's not to say that you can't date in that time. Like you don't have to be fully committed to the woman in order to like get to know them. You know,
treat
to
her
see,
nice.
you know what I'm saying? Treat her nice.
Treat her like a lady.
Treat her like a lady. You know what I'm saying? Like being like the guys, like sometimes we say like, you know, treat her how she wants to be treated. You know what I'm saying? And this could go a lot of ways because like a woman could come to you and like she could show you that she just want to be, you know, she just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
And that's okay.
And if you cool with that, bro, treat her how she want to be treated. But if she comes to me and shows you like, oh no, I want to be courted and I want to be taken out, you know, here, like have this kind of fun, and you're cool with that, treat her how she wants to be treated. Learn that it is important to like have conversations about what your expectations are with someone, like whether you're just trying to, you know, be friends with benefits, whether you're actually trying to date them, or you just want to be friends. Like you have to get those expectations up front, because that'll help you be able to maneuver from the jump. Like if I come in, I'm like, damn, I really like her, so I want to do this, I want to do this. But she comes to me and she's like, dude, I just really want to like get to know you kind of, but you're trying to push it still, you're gonna fuck yourself up. You know what I'm saying? But if you have that conversation, you'll know, and then you can make the decision. All right, I'm gonna take a step back, or you're gonna keep cooking yourself, and that'll suck.
You have to just meet people where they're at. And I feel like, or it's either you meet people where they're at, or you just leave. Like, if what someone wants doesn't match what you want, like,
just
you
go.
can't, just, like, there's so many people, and it's okay. Like, it doesn't have to mean it's no hate, it's no shade, nothing. Like, if it's not meant to be, if two people don't really align, then they don't align, you know? And it doesn't have to be like, oh, we're arch nemesis. Like, no, like, it wasn't what it needed to be.
It doesn't have to be that.
I feel like friendship is a really important part of a relationship because you like your friends. You want to be around your friends. You have fun with your friends. Relationships are like having a best friend that you also have sex with and do romantic things with. Like, that's honestly what it is. That's what I feel.
How it should be.
Yeah, you know? Relationships feel the best when you just have fun.
With your partner, they have to be able to bring out the high, middle, and low of you. So like your higher self, you know, your grounded self, and like your visceral self. Because if they can see you in all of those lights, then they know how to be with you in different situations.
Exactly.
Whether you're like, let's say you're at church, you're chilling at the house, or y'all are at a rave and y'all are having a good time, but like they know how to be with you and understand you and see that even in these different moments, in these different spaces, you're the same person, but there's different sides of you that are going to come out. Like, I'm not going to be dancing all crazy in like a church or a masjid where I know that's not what I'm going to do. But if I'm at a party, like, I'm going to dance. I'm going to do that. There might be some dance moves that I do in the house that I might not do out at the club because I might be a little weirder, you know what I'm saying, in my safe space. But they know, like, okay, if it's just us in the club, if I start doing that dance that you did at the house, you might do it with me because I know how to bring that out of you. So, like, that person has to be able to understand you on, like, different levels of who you are.
Exactly. Understand and not judge you. You know, that's the biggest thing. Like, feeling comfortable with somebody is like one of the best things. Like, I feel my best when I can just be free to dance, to sing, to make funny jokes. Like, when I feel comfortable, like, that's the best love. That feels amazing to me.
It's fuller.
How has the way you show your love for people evolved?
I've gotten better at really clapping for others even when it's not my turn to be clapped for. And I feel like that's really opened my eyes to like how I was experiencing love and showing love to people. You know what I'm saying? I would say I understand that I could, in my past, I was a selfish person in the way that I was selfish with my love. And I've come to understand that you can't be that way. You know what I'm saying?
Love is not selfish.
It's not. You can't go on in that way and expect that like love is gonna come back to you or like things are gonna be reciprocal because, you know, it might have been transactionary. And I understand that that is the way that I was living. I don't know. I don't really understand why, and I'm trying to understand why, but I knew that I needed to fix it if I wanted to like do anything.
Yeah, like
You
it
know,
needed to go.
It needed to change regardless of like why.
Yeah.
Like the why is cool, but like what are you going to do in order to change that? If you see that there is something that you want to fix about yourself, go and fix it.
Don't keep talking about it.
Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, in order to be the man that you want to be, you have to be the man that you want to be. That's so simple. And I'm like, in order to be that person, you just have to be that person. Like, you're not going to be that person that you see and visualize, like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you keep, you know, emulating that person, let's say a year from now, you will be that person. So, just ask for it, receive it, and you are it.
Yes.
As simple as that.
I always say this, like, I live my raps.
Yeah.
I live my raps, whether it's the stuff that I'm journaling or the stuff that I'm tweeting. Like, if you say you are something, you're that. Just be that. Like, just walk in what you say you are.
Right.
You know, like our words have meaning. Our words are powerful. Like, I feel as though it's not that deep. Like sometimes, you know, now that we're all learning more about like our mental health and stuff like that, we over theorize things and we over diagnose things when it's like sometimes like you just need change and it's okay. You know, like we don't have to keep talking about it or keep talking about, you know, your flaws. Like let's talk about what do you want to do and like, you know.
My friend told me a story about his friend named Joe. Joe did shrooms for the first time. After Joe did these shrooms, Joe was never the same Joe that they knew before. Not in a bad way. He just said, he was like, bro, I was tripping 4 grams out in public. I'm the only one that knew I was thinking this shit.
Yeah.
Or like, if I'm like moving weird, nobody else is watching me.
Yeah.
Like, and even if they're watching me thinking, are they watching me?
Yeah.
And that's how most people operate. Like, okay, am I out here being perceived? Damn, I'm being perceived. I'm gonna change this. Or I'm gonna walk this way, or I'm gonna talk this way. No, don't do that. Just be like, because one, you're no bigger than this person. This person's no bigger than you. Yeah. So who cares if they're looking at you and saying, "Oh, no, they did this."
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks. So. Yeah.
I feel like that's what's helped me get over like my fear of dancing in public and dancing in public and just being in public, because I realize like people are gonna look either way.
Regardless.
Like whether they're looking or not, like I just have to be comfortable with what I'm doing.
Right.
And like, okay, if you're watching, enjoy the show.
Exactly.
Like that's really how I feel about it, because some people aren't looking, but some people are, and it's like that's always gonna happen, you know. So just being comfortable being seen is big.
Exactly. And like, I was out a couple weeks ago with a friend and her younger cousin, and so we're 28, she's 22, so she doesn't go to like bars or like just go out to dance just for fun, you know what I'm saying? So we're out and she's like, oh, I want to go. She saw a guy voguing, right? She's like, I want to do that. And I'm like, go do it. And she's like, nah, people are watching. I'm like, so? So now I just started doing it. And she's like, she got confused because she's like, why are you? And I was like, cause you said you wanted to do it, like let's go do it. So I've come to see like sometimes like if somebody says they want to do it, sometimes you have to like be with them to get them to do it the first time. Sometimes you just need support. You just need that push a little bit, and then once you got that push, you know, you fly if you want to.
And I feel like that's how I feel about you guys. Like seeing y'all Mad Music go out, like all of you guys dance and all of you guys have fun and you just be and you just be. And I feel like watching that has made me feel even more comfortable when I go out and I want to just dance. And I'm just like, I appreciate what you built. And what made you want to create Mad Music?
Playlists. That's really where it started. I was in my room. It was like 2016, 2017, I was making playlists and it was fun. And then I started looking at like, oh, I know this person makes music. I know this person makes music, and I actually knew them in real life. And I was like, all right, let me put a playlist together for these people. And then I was like, well, if I can make a playlist, maybe I can ask them if they would want to do a show, and then the playlist becomes real. And then we can make another playlist after the show of like what they perform. So I was like, oh shit, I want to bring my playlist to life. And that's literally what I did. And like 20, so that was like 2016, 2017 when I like had the initial idea, but I had to like finish college. 2019 coming to 2020 is really when I started to like really begin to step into myself again more. But then 2020 happened, you know, COVID was fun. So you couldn't really go anywhere. End of 2021 was where I was like, all right, it's time to actually like try this thing and test it. And you know what I'm saying? I pulled together myself, Taco at the time, his name was Exhale, Seti-san, and Jordan Ali. So Jordan, he was in the first Get Down, and Reggie was there as a vendor, and so we were all in those rooms, you know what I'm saying? But as the years went on, we started to see, oh wow, like we work together and we actually like having fun together. So like, let's just do this.
And that's what I appreciate about you guys the most, is that you're having fun. Like Mad Music, they love what they're doing. Like Mad Music has a good time. Like they're not just doing this stuff just to do it. Like I feel like the intention really is you love music and you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, we just like one of our main things, we just want to create spaces for people to feel safe in what they do, whether they're coming to just enjoy or they're coming to actually want to be a part of it. So we've been at shows and we're doing it, and somebody will come up and just be like, how do I be a part, or like how can I be in the next one, or how can I like work alongside as like a videographer or something like that. And in those moments, that helps me understand that like that's all I would do. Like if I was out and be like, hey, I would have my camera on me and just be like, hey, can I take pictures of this? And I'll send them. And that's all it is. You just have, like, if you're interested in it, you have to put yourself in that space and just do it. Just be there. If you want to show up and do it, just do it. Like nobody, if they don't want you there, they'll tell you. That's cool. It wasn't free. That space wasn't for you. But you shouldn't let it discourage you, even though it's hard sometimes to let things discourage you. And that's one thing with this that I've come to understand. It doesn't matter whether you're at the beginning of your journey of like creating or just putting things out there, or you're 10 to 15 years in, you're still gonna have those thoughts of like, am I doing this right, or how should I do this, or like I'm kind of nervous about this space, because you're gonna find yourself in different spaces in front of new people. So I've had people ask me like, how are you not, like, you do it as if you're not scared. I'm like, what? Like, I'm nervous every time I have a new idea, not because I'm afraid of it, because now I have to think of, okay, how am I gonna get to the other side of that idea? What do I have to do in order to get to that other side of the idea? And then different questions that you have to ask yourself in order to get new things across that finish line. So that's like that.
I think sometimes what scares me is thinking about the better things. Like, oh, if I make this so good, like, how am I gonna be better? And I've had to like start getting myself out of that and just like, it's okay. Like, just do what you're gonna do for this. You'll have other ideas, like you'll figure it out. But right now, like, how are you gonna make this great with what you have?
Exactly.
And what resources do you need to execute that vision?
Exactly. And that's one thing. Like with I would say with the first 2 Get Downs, that's what would really mess me up. Say the show was on Saturday. On that Sunday, I would find myself depressed because I was so caught up in like, what could be next, or what do I do next, or how do I do next, or next, instead of giving myself time to sit in like,
be here now.
Be right here. Like, dude, you just did that. Like, why are you thinking so much about like what's gonna happen next instead of just living right here? I'm bothered by music just sitting there, because I was performing songs that are coming out now for like the last 2 years, just performing them. And it was cool to see people know them, but they're like, oh, where can I listen? And I'm like, I mean, I can send you the file, but it's like, what does that translate to? Nothing other than like, you come to the show and you know the song. That's great, that's cool, but like,
how do we get further?
Exactly. How do I start to how do I expand what it is I want to do? Because some people, they might make music for fun, and we do make music for fun. But I see music as a vehicle to like get other things out there. Like if someone hears my music and then we talk, they might learn that I'm a teacher, and then we can talk about that, and we won't even talk. We could still talk about the music, but that means that my music was meant to get to this person to fulfill this, right? There's this way of living called ikigai, and it's tying together your vocations, your passions, your profession, and like putting it into like one, like it's like a Venn diagram. So if you have all four of them right here, and then in the middle, what is that thing that like drives all of them? Like for me, it's community, and I know that whether it's like whether I'm at work, whether I'm in like at an event, whether I'm just chilling at the house, like I like to be within my community. So having all those things together and understanding that if my let's say my gas is my community, like if I'm able to pour into the community, then everything else will follow. As long as you're tending to that main thing of yourself, everything else will just it'll do it for you, like naturally.
How did you start DJing?
I've always wanted to DJ, but I was afraid of it. At the time, I didn't understand, like, okay, just like figure out why this bothers you, and that'll help you like think through other areas of your life. But I started because like, I really got into it because when I first started doing shows, there was a lot of overhead with like, you know, you have to pay DJs, you have to pay artists, like you have to, I feel in order to put on a good show, you gotta pay everybody, because that's the reciprocity of it. Like they gave you a service, you pay them. So I started to understand like, okay, I really do want to do these shows, but I don't really have the funds to pay a DJ every time. So if I learn how to do this, then I can cut some of my overhead, practice, and then that'll also help me meet other DJs and connect with them. So then when I do bring them into the shows, it's like, hey, I know what kind of music you play, so I know to bring this DJ when I have these artists. Everything that I do started with photography. So it's so fun because like I feel like with photography, it gives you get to be in the backseat, and you just get to see everything. You're capturing the moments of the room, whether you're at an event or like you're doing a studio shoot. Like you're capturing specific moments. You're sculpting it to be that, and that's helped me understand with like shows. If I want this show to feel this way, I have to be able to tell everyone that's a part of the show what it is that I need from them. One thing that has really helped with like just being able to jump into these different mediums is like with photography, I would be afraid to like even put pictures out. Like I would take a bunch of pictures and I'll be afraid to like put them out because I was like, at the time I was afraid of like, oh, how am I gonna be perceived, or like, you know, are they gonna judge this, or like if somebody's like, oh, can you take pictures of me for my birthday, and I'm like, what do I charge for this? And when I started to see that, I'm like, well, what am I worth? Like, what is this service worth? And that makes you ask like, really, like, what am I worth? Like, what do I charge this person for the thing that I know that I'm good at? Then you really start to look at yourself. So when I really understood and dove into those emotions. Words, love them. Dove into those emotions with photography. When I did jump into like recording music and putting on shows and DJing, it was easier for me to move because I already understood, yo, this is the same emotion, it's just a different medium.
The same emotion is just a different medium.
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah. And that's something that I even carry to like education, like with my students. Like I'll my main thing with them is social emotional learning. So like getting them to understand, okay, I feel this way, so I act this way. And I work with 6 and 7 year olds. So like getting them to understand that at 6, so when they're able to tell me, oh, I had a bad weekend because this happened with my dad, this happened with my mom, bang, 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 cool. I understand that's how you're feeling. But when we go to our math problems, you're now able to communicate to me why I don't want to do this math problem or why this math problem is bothering me. Because I've had 6 and 7 year olds tell me this math problem makes me feel the same way that I felt when this happened. And I'm like, okay, so now that helps me know how to talk to them, you know? So the same thing with yourself and your different mediums, you now know how to respond to your different mediums
Yeah.
because you've talked to yourself.
Yeah. So everything started with photography. How did you start photography?
My mom, she would always have cameras, like always. She would like when we were young. I've actually just recently been watching a lot of our home videos,
Yeah.
and she always had cameras on her, whether they were video cameras, cassettes, or like film cameras, mini like little digital cameras. She always had them. So like I'm seeing the videos, like I would always want to like play with it. Like I'm asking constantly from when I'm like 3 to I'm like 10, just like, can I hold the camera? Can I hold the camera? She's like, no. And
literally,
it's a good
same.
idea because like I probably would have broke it.
Exactly.
So
I had to come to that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Very similar story. Very similar. I started AP Studio Art. I was like, you know, let me use this camera. And even going back, I used to look at our photo albums at home a lot. I'd spend hours just looking at the photo albums, and then, you know, trying to use the camera, didn't get to use the camera, and then, you know, this is about you.
No, I understand because it's the same thing. Like I have like a box of photos upstairs, and like my mom has all her photos. Like
she's great, by the way. His mom, so gorgeous. I love her dreads so much, and like she has this like calm aura, and she comes to his shows. Like she supports. Does. Like that's beautiful to see.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and I honestly, I've been thinking lately about how like grateful and lucky I am for that, because then I go to other friends' shows, and there's a couple of people that I've seen like their parents are there, but I do think about like my friends whose parents don't come to their shows. I'm like, damn, you're out here showing yourself, like you're great at it, and like you probably really want, not that I'm thinking that they need the validation, but I'm like,
it would be nice.
You know what I'm saying? You probably would want your mom or your dad or like family to come. Like you really see, like going back to that support thing, you really see like what you're able to do when you have that support system.
Yes. I met Mad Music through Jordan Ali. He's awesome, amazing rapper, and just person in general. Just genuine guy.
Great.
And from meeting Jordan, I met Mad Music. And I feel like meeting you guys was like opening this whole new world into like the Baltimore music art scene that I'm so grateful for. Like there's artists that I was already fans of, but I've been meeting so many that I never knew before. Akila Divine, KLA, Bobby Woody, like it just, the list goes on and on and on of everything that comes from them. Like anything that comes from Mad Music, it's gonna be from the heart. Like all those artists I just named, like they're so talented and they care. Like everybody surrounding you guys, like in your orbit, really truly cares about what they do. And I feel like that's what I feel like about Baltimore in general. Like there's a very homely and like artsy and just loving feeling out here that I feel like people don't talk about a lot. Like you guys really care. Like you guys really have fun. You dance. You love your arts.
They really do. And speaking about like the homie essence of it, like whether it's homie, like that's my man, it's like homie, like actually sitting in the crib. It's cool because I'm not from Baltimore.
Me either.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
So like I'll be out here like every weekend.
You know, I love this place, and like it's cool. Like you say, you've met a lot of people through me, but then like you gotta, you know, give love like Two World Order or the County Kids. You know what I'm saying? These you know what I'm saying? These are people
Shout out
that
Be More Alien.
You know what I'm saying? They've been doing the work, and it's great to be able to work alongside them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Community.
Exactly. And then to also see like there'll be days where like there was a period where a few of the crews weren't doing events. You know what I'm saying? Because we're like, we need to relax sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And then there was a day where it's like me and a couple of people from different, you know, parts of the city, different crews, and we're just chilling watching a movie. And it's like, there can be this and that.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that right now, that a lot of people that do events, we're looking for ways to like gather the people in the community without it having to be like a show.
Yeah.
Like, can we just like have a movie night?
Yeah.
Or can we just finding different ways to actually engage, engage and connect, and it's not like, oh, I gotta put out my 5 best people for you to see this show, or like the 3 best DJs for you to come out. Like, could we just like meet up at a park and just like do nothing?
Yeah, or paint, or
yeah,
dance,
you know what
or
I'm saying?
just like, you know, talk.
Exactly. There has to be other ways for us to like connect with the community just as people, and not just as, you know, the showrunners or the artists, curators, things of that nature.
Fellowship is so important, and
Yes.
you guys are showing me that so much. Friendship, fellowship, like having faith is like the backbone of everything that I do. Like just having a vision, believing in my vision, and knowing God is gonna meet me halfway.
Yeah.
Like that's the most important thing to me, because I don't feel like I get these ideas for no reason. You know, we don't have these plans, these ideas, these thoughts, these goals for no reason. So it's like might as well see them through. Like God put them there for a reason. So it's like might as well. You know.
Faith reminds me of being like it's like being a child, because when you were a kid and you didn't have a phone, but you know how to tell time, you're like, all right, I'm going inside today, but you tell your friends over the summer, I'm gonna be at this park at 10 o'clock in the morning, and you had to have faith that they were gonna be there at 10 o'clock in the morning. So whenever I like have an idea, or like I tell my friends I'm gonna do something, I'm like, oh no guys, I really gotta do this, not in like a pressure way, but like, oh man, like I told my guys I'm gonna do this, or I told my family I'm gonna do this, so I gotta do it. It might not be in the timing that I might have thought, you know what I'm saying, but I saw something else the other day said, you know what I'm saying, when God gives you a delay, it's because you wasn't supposed to experience it at that time. It wasn't
that time.
It's okay, like if there's a delay in that gratification, bro, not everything's gonna be instant. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be other things that you need to take care of in order for you to get to this point.
Or in order for you to be prepared to handle that is what I've realized. Like, this time in between what I wanted, I wouldn't have been ready.
I would have been ready. I would have dropped it all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, that's another thing that I've understood about myself is like, if some of the things that I'm doing now, I sometimes think like, damn, am I really doing this right? But I also know like 3 years ago, if I would have been trying to move at the pace that I'm moving right now, I'd been cooked. I wouldn't have been able to like mentally switch from certain things. Like there'll be times where I might DJ and perform in the same moment. Or like I can have my camera on me on stage. I can be DJing, I can perform, and I'll take a picture within the same 15 minutes, and I'm like, oh shit, you're really just being. You're really just out here, just experiencing it how you want to experience it. And if that's the way you want to do it, cool.
And that's what's most important, is just experience it how you want to experience it. What do you feel like is the most important aspect of curating a show? A successful show?
Stage management. Stage management.
What does stage management consist of to you?
I feel like stage management is knowing where everything is supposed to be, or who's supposed to be where, how much time you have in between things at any given moment. So like if I know the show's starting at 8:30 and say doors open at 8:30, if I know the first performer is going on at 9 o'clock, I know that I need to be talking to the performer at 8:50, because by that time you have to let them know, hey, you know, you're going on in 10 minutes. Is there anything that you need? Anything that you want in this moment, because you're going on in 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be able to be stern and have the foresight of like, all right, I need to go to this person 10 minutes in advance, because I know personally I get nervous before I have to perform. So I need to use the bathroom. So you might have to go to that person and be like, hey, you're going on in 10 minutes or 15, whatever it is. Do you need to use the bathroom? Do you need water? Do you need this? So then you can answer those, and then by the time it gets to 8:55, it's like, all right, are you ready? All right, cool. You have 5 minutes.
It leads to a way less stressful environment, I feel like.
Yeah. You have to be able to delegate and mitigate, I feel, as a proper curator. And that's not me saying I've done the greatest job of it. I haven't. There'll be moments where somebody's asked me like, oh, what do I need to do? And I'm like, oh, you don't know that. I'm like, damn. And that makes me think in that moment, okay, next time we might have to have a meeting the day before, a couple days before, so then that you do know what it is you're supposed to be doing. So
that goes into learning from experience. I feel like I'm doing a lot of learning on the job when it comes to creative stuff, because like no one taught me also how to do events, how to do camera stuff. Like I've just been figuring out as I go.
Doing it.
You have to do to be able to just be. Like if you don't do, if you're afraid to do, you won't be able to just be.
Right.
And that's another thing that I've been dealing with, is just kind of like pushing fear to the side. Like I'm so afraid like of so many things, but I have to just let it go, because I remind myself a lot that I do this because I enjoy it. My ikigai is shining a light on people. stressful. So at the end of the day, I have to remember that I love this. Like, yeah, there's stressful moments. Yeah, there are things that are like, this is uncomfortable or I'm scared of.
I do it.
Yeah, I do it because I love it and I enjoy it. And I feel like I have to come back to. I have to reel myself in sometimes when I start, going over the ledge with my fear, and it's just like, oh, this or this, and it's like, wait,
chill.
It's okay. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. You're not gonna get in trouble.
You're not. Who are you gonna get in trouble with? Like yourself. There's this thing. I've been listening to a lot of Makami, and one thing there's an interlude where somebody talks about at the end where he's like, when I started understanding like everything's actually my fault, I got happier.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you're more in control now.
Exactly. You start thinking, like, you get away from the thought of, like, oh, the government controls this, or, like, this happened because of this. And you start to understand, no, bro, this didn't happen because you didn't do that 2 weeks ago. So that's why this is not happening.
You made that decision, and now you're dealing with the repercussion from that decision. Whether it's a positive or negative or whatever repercussion. Matter. It happened because you did that, or you didn't do that.
You didn't. So now you not, and now you mad. Because you're not.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, everything is the government's fault. Like, let's, big umbrella,
cool.
Boom. Yeah. But let's minimize it down to your life and what we're experiencing every day. It's like...
Right. The government isn't directly controlling your day-to-day actions.
Exactly.
Like, they might control certain things that happen in a broader
They put us here, but...
Yeah, but in like in a that's macro. But in a micro scale, dude, you are the one doing this.
It's you.
So stop.
Stop.
It said, how many times will let you be the thing that you are? Fuck, nigga. Like, you're doing that to yourself.
Exactly. It's no one else's fault how you're responding to how life is. Exactly. It's all your response. Exactly. You control your response to what life is giving you.
I think I can be a deep dive. I think I can be a deep dive. Asking God when the sun's gonna show. Talk to God sipping on honeysuckle lemonade. Ace of spades, you a queen, baby. Diamonds, but I'm feeling lucky lately. Clover now, I'm racing minds, maybe. Hearts tell me if I see it in. Diving deep like the blue hole. I'm emphatic, no hesitation. 1,500-meter pass station. Saturdays trying to count the waves. Ringside and common mental lanes. Purple haze, sweet venom gazing. Mona Lisa bona fide, it's true. Counting things that I do to you. Painting toes, touching ceiling fans. Hair rocking, give me your demands. Read away, I'm really paint the walls. Overalls, way I'm in it, my God. Sorry, I really thought I could've waited. Your body wouldn't let you hesitate. Call your son Jesus, I mean.
Just coming off the fact that I went to the Expression show and I got to experience it firsthand. I also shot the show. Go see the pictures. They're amazing. I loved them. I loved the Expression show. It made me feel like someone who truly cares about their art. Like, you ran us through the whole project, but I didn't feel like, oh my God, I'm sitting here listening to an entire project. I feel like the project is just long enough that you're not dragging it out. Usually when people curate shows, they'll have other people on it, they'll do a few songs off their album, and then that's it. You had other people on that were amazing, by the way, amazing artists. Shout out to everybody that performed at the Expression show, because crazy. El Monet,
Mike Banks,
yes,
Kasim,
yes, Akosa,
you know what I'm saying?
Amazing.
Crazy.
What was your favorite part of being able to take your project from being music to like a visual experience?
I think my favorite part about it was like breaking it down. Like I ran it, so the project runs, I ran it live the same way that the project runs.
Yeah.
So my favorite part of it was figuring out how to maneuver on stage. Like, okay, so if you've heard the project, it starts with like me, reading something. So I was like, okay, how do I make that come to life? So I brought my notebook in the stage that I was writing the majority of this project in. And just like sitting with it, and to the viewer, for them it's like, oh, we're just watching him read what he's already said on the project. So that's what I would say my favorite part was like figuring out how to like translate the music to like the physical motion, so it wasn't just like, oh, I'm just going from song to song. Like, okay, how do I actually tell the story as if it was a play? Like, there were certain things that I wanted to do, but I realized, okay, this is the first time that you're running this project through. All the ideas that you have might not actually come to fruition, and that's okay because you have a project out and you got the ideas that you wanted to make it actually seem, you know, what you want it to be. But okay, do it again. The next time you can add this. The next time you can add that. So I would say, yeah, my favorite part about it was like making it seem as if it was a play.
Speaking of how the show ran,
Yeah.
I noticed you had the notebook. Do you journal in real life?
Yes. I'm in a season now where I haven't been journaling consistently, and I'll be honest about that. You know, you might tell yourself, oh, I gotta get back to writing, but right now I just haven't been. I don't know what those seasons are called, because I feel like in those moments where I'm not journaling, those are the best seasons where I'm actually like living.
Yeah.
And I'm not thinking about, oh, I want to write this down, I want to get this down. I might go back in like 2 weeks and like write about like the last 2 to 3 weeks and be like, oh, that was a great span of days.
Yeah.
If I have a show to plan for, I'm typically writing because I have to get my ideas out, and I've seen how me not writing out like my run of show even before I have like majority of anything, like I'll write out the run of show, like what timestamps, everything, so then when it gets to the day of the show, I've already lived it, you know what I'm saying, in a sense.
Yeah.
But during shows, and even right now, like while I'm finishing, I'm between, you know, another project, and writing those things out is fun because then when I get to the day, okay, we have to do mixing, mastering, things like that, I already have everything written out, like my ideas about the project, how I want it to go, but I do need to get back to just like writing, like outside of planning things and stuff like that, so it's in my plans. Yeah.
I feel that too, because I feel like I write the most when my life is a little in shambles, and when I just need to sort things out, like when I just need to make sense of things.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel you on that. Like sometimes when things are going good, like I'll just come back and just be like, God, I'm grateful. Like thank you,
Right.
God, for the experiences I've been having.
Right. I wrote a song for this next project called Plateaus because it is titled that because I've been playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's a great game. And at the beginning of the game, you're sitting at the top of a plateau, and you're asking this old man questions. So the first bar is like, I'm at the high point of a great plateau, I'm asking questions. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to do that. Whether you're at your lowest or your highest, you have to ask questions to like get to that next step of where you want to be. You got to be able to, you know, just ask the questions. You can't be afraid of asking questions. That song was written over a span of a month. Like,
Wow.
I took my time and I would write like 4 bars, and then like I might type it in my phone, and then I might write another 4 bars like in my journal, just writing. And then at the end of that month, when I found the beat, I like went through my journal, my phone, and like pieced together the song. And that's been my favorite writing recently. Of like, okay, I might like write like a haiku or like a little stanza of something, and then I find a beat, and then I'm like, oh wow, you were in the same stream of thought for a month. And that's the cool thing that I'll see. Like, I don't have to write a whole page or anything. I can write like 4 lines, then a couple days later write another 4 lines, and then I'll see that like in that month, like I was in the same, like, you know, I was in the same train of thought where it allowed me to like write I don't want to call it coincidentally, but for lack of better terms, coincidentally wrote a full song. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to piece it together from my thoughts. And those are my favorite journaling sessions, or just writing sessions right now.
Yeah. What is your favorite song off Expressions, and why?
Backroads.
Why? I
Because
love
me and my brother.
Yeah.
And that time when we wrote that song was so good for us as brothers, because my car was down. Brother had to like drop me off at work and pick me up, so like I had to rely on him. And it was cool in those moments to see how our relationship was really forming and reforming, because we didn't spend a lot of our childhood together. So like being able to sit in this is really cool. It's funny because like that verse, I had tried it with like 4 other people, and I was like, bro, this joint's it's not hitting like it needs to. But then when I did that verse with my brother, I was like, nah, this joint is staying right here.
This is it.
It's not going nowhere else. And it was great. Like, we had fun with that song. Like, we found that beat, we talked about everything, and then that night we had recorded it for the first time. So, but we didn't like record it like in the studio. We just recorded it. It was me, Reggie, my brother, and Kayla. We're in the car. So that conversation that you hear in the beginning of the song, that was the first time we had ever like recorded the song. And like we're like, yo guys, can we show you this song? So then we just did it in the car for them right there, and we're like, bro, that's really how it felt. That's how the song feels to me. Like, we're just in the car with our friends, or like it could be me and my brother and like maybe our girlfriends at the time, and we're just driving, we're just having a day or an evening or whatever. And it's cool because that's the same way I want to know. I would say those are my top two. Like, I went to NASA. Shout out NASA. We have been wanting to have like a session for a while, and we came over this day. It was October, and we're just feeling good. We're chilling at first. We're doing random stuff, and then we're like, all right, I want to make a song. I'm like, all right, bet. But we're both like, I want it to feel like it's a day with your homie. Like what I just explained, like it's you and them, it could be you and your girl, it could be all four of y'all. Y'all just riding around, pumpkin patch, chilling, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we both know that we're artists, so we know sometimes how it is dating, because you might find yourself so into the music in a season that like it's taking a lot of your time.
Yeah.
So it's like, the premise of it is like, I really want to know, like, are you gonna stick around for real? Like, do you actually want to be here for me? You know what I'm saying? Do we want to be here for each other? Those songs are, I don't know, I can't choose, because then like I need you, right?
Yeah.
I'm driving around with midnight, and it's like 10 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. We're just riding around, want to go pick up some food, you know what I'm saying? And Bobby Woody, he had sent me the beat, so I couldn't figure out how to write on it. So that song, I'm only singing on it. Like, the verses are not even me.
Yeah.
So like, I'm just singing like, I need you. And that's all I could come up with. But I'm driving, and Toby was just like, can I write to this? Bro, he wrote that verse in like 15 minutes. Like, before we even got to our destination for the food. And then Jordan, we had practice that night. Jordan came over and was like, how did y'all write this? He laid his verse down. So we made that song in a day, like actually like put together the stacks, everything. So at the end, so like we're sitting here on the couch just like chilling, like we're like, damn, it's been a good day, like wow. So then at the end we're just like, we found love. You know what I'm saying? We're sitting here, you know what I'm saying? We're sitting here, we had a quick writing session. We're like, bro, and like that was a moment for that song where I was like, no, I wanted to be this. Kanye, Ghost Town Heroes, like someday, like I love that song, right? So I was like, bruh, I want this song to feel and sound like that. There's that part. I want it to be like that, like kind of like a reprise at the end where like it's a chant of like, this is what I'm feeling. So, okay, those are my top three.
And it's funny, you talk about how you felt writing Backroads. When I listen to Sundays, it feels exactly like that. Like, I experienced those days with my boyfriend, and I'm like,
that's cool.
It feels like this. Like, he's making me waffles, and like, it feels so lovely. Like, and that song, like, will play in my head, like, when we're having these moments on Sundays. Like, it's just a very heartwarming song. And that's what I feel like people miss sometimes when they make love songs. There's no like actual soul or heart in it. It's just like, I'm saying these things because they sound, you know, like
sound good.
Yours really do encompass the moments that you're trying to put in there.
Really what it is, like I really like to encapsulate like the moments, right? So like I might be talking about a situation with one woman that I was dating in 2018 or somebody I was dating in 2022, and even though it might have not stuck, like we still had those moments. So like some of the songs I might have written in the moment, some of them I wrote after the moment. But it's like, in none of the songs other than Petty Cash, in none of those songs am I like talking like, and even still in Petty Cash, I'm not talking ill about the people of those two verses, right? I'm not talking ill about it. It's like, dang, like things change, people change, and you know, it happens.
Things happen, and it's
things
okay.
happen, you know what I'm saying? So Yeah, shout out Expressions.
Yeah. Well, Tactical, you said people want sequels to the messages we spread. What do you feel like is the message that you're spreading?
To be yourself and just love yourself, love the people that you have around you, and support the people that you have around you, because you don't know when they're not going to be around you, whether they're actually here, like physically on this planet, like still living, or they might move somewhere, you know what I'm saying? And you might not have those times with them anymore where you're able to just, you know, chop it up and be with them, you know what I'm saying? So like, people want to hear the things that we do. People want to be at the things that we're putting together. So we got to do it. Now we don't have to, but like we want to. And we're learning now. I'm learning now that like you don't always have to have events for people to know what you're up to or like really follow you and stuff like that. So like right now I've been taking a break from the get downs because I've had to step into myself as just Deavhon the artist. You know what I'm saying? So like even that's been a cool thing too. So yeah, I want people to hear, like I said, the music is a vehicle, you know what I'm saying? So like if people like Expressions, you know what I'm saying, I would hope they like the next project, you know, Before Sunrise, you know, coming soon.
Shout out to Before Sunrise. What is your goal with music? Like what do you want from this, from everything that you're doing?
I really just want to create a community with like the things that I do, and like I'm not really after like, oh, I want to be famous, because fame is subjective. Like I think that I could be famous amongst 500 people, and that's fame.
That's cool.
That's bruh, if I could get 500 people to buy a $40 project, what is that? $9,000?
That's a lot of bread. I could do a lot of things with
$9,000. So like when you think about it in that way, like, not saying people are monetary, but like if you have say 1,000 people that enjoy what you do, that's 1,000 people that are going to spread your message voluntarily because they enjoy it. So then that's the 6 degrees of separation or the compound effect. Like if these 1,000 people go off and tell 2 people each, that's now 3,000 potential people that might listen to your thing or go to your website and buy your thing. Gotta do a website together. On the next project, the single has come out already, Mud Travels. Like that song is just about like, yo, I don't want to complicate the things that I do because we've already done it.
I don't wanna complicate it, I don't wanna complicate. Mud traveling, my mind steady babbling, making these connections of worlds, my mind ain't constant. Mud traveling, my mind steady babbling, making these connections of worlds, my mind ain't constant. I don't wanna complicate it, I don't wanna complicate it.
So just keep walking in your path, because a lot of these paths have already been walked. Just pay attention to what and where you are being pulled and go towards that. You know what I'm saying? Don't all in, you know what I'm saying? I saw a tweet the other day that said like, generators and manifesting generators, if something makes you happy, go after, like do it. Whether it's big or small, it could be like, oh, I want to pick up this butterfly. Yo, pick that joint up.
Just do it.
Or like you get an opportunity to play music in front of 1,000 people. Do that shit if it makes you happy. Because there could be situations where you can get invited to something big, but it doesn't feel good. Don't do it.
What was the most difficult part about making Expressions?
I think the most difficult part was understanding that things happen in time, because I had the idea of like what I wanted to be. So like you see how like in the project the poems are like split up. It wasn't gonna be that way at first. It was just gonna be 1 2-minute poem, and then it was gonna go into express how it does. But then understanding, I had never tracked out a project before, or I actually had tracked out Before Sunrise in full, but I didn't have all the pieces for it, right? So even when I had it tracked out, I'm like, it don't feel finished, and that was a cool feeling. But then with Expressions, understanding like things can move at any given moment depending on like when you actually test it. Does this sound right? No. So you have to go back and figure out, okay, what do I want to do to make it feel this way? What do I want to do to make it sound this way? So from Expressions to now, like with Before Sunrise, I already had majority of that project together, right? But with a lot of those songs, it was at a time where you ever like come to understand something, but you had just started to understand it. So it was in that moment you just started living it, but you just started being that person. So it's like, damn, am I even really this person?
Yeah.
That's how I was with those songs. So like that's why I was like performing them for a while, and I felt like I couldn't put it out because I wasn't living that yet.
Yeah.
So like one thing that I'm always asking myself, like, am I actually like living my like the shit that I'm saying?
Living your raps.
I gotta live them. So like with expressions, I'm like, I'm a lover boy. I can put this shit out yesterday. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like it came easier and just like, all right, bro, this is just me talking about the way that I experience or have experienced love. Whereas with Before Sunrise, this was like how I experienced like myself and like my own adaptation in life, like how I've adapted to new situations, how I've come to understand myself and the way that I love myself and the way that I have to, you know, express love to others. Those are the difficult parts about it, of like, one, like, you know, understanding how do I want to actually put this thing together, but also like how am I experiencing this, like am I lying to people? You know what I'm saying? I was watching a video the other day, and it was speaking about Islam in the hood, right? Of like, and there's a great speaker, he's down in Texas, and one thing that he spoke about in it was like, if you're not asking yourself if you're a hypocrite, you're not really living right. Because if you're not able to ask yourself, damn, did I do this because of this, or did I do this because of this? Or am I acting this way because of this, or am I acting this way because I actually believe it? You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to ask yourself those questions. And if you're not asking yourself those questions, you're not
evolving.
You're not living with humility.
Yeah.
You're constantly thinking that you are above everything.
Yeah.
And if you think that way, you don't die.
Yeah. No one's above scrutiny. No one's above criticism. No one's above accountability. It's just understanding where is that coming from, you know?
Right.
And is it coming from a space of love? Like,
exactly.
When it comes from yourself, when it comes from anywhere, for you to really take it in, it needs to come from a space of love. Because when it comes from a space of hate or jealousy or any type of other whatever, then you know, like, maybe I shouldn't listen to this or care at all.
Right. I had to change the way that I was loving myself.
Yeah.
So like, I stopped drinking as much as I was. I stopped smoking as much as I was. And I saw how that changed the way that I responded to my own thoughts and how I responded to other people's actions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel that 100% because I feel like I went through a huge change right before COVID hit. I went through a huge change, and then in COVID, it was like, so I went into COVID and I was turning 25.
Right.
So that's when everybody says your frontal lobe develops. So I spent that whole time in lockdown getting the ick about so many years prior. Yeah, so many years prior. I'm just like, oh my God.
Damn.
So going into 25, I was in lockdown, and I'm just like, let's sit and think about your actions the past 10 years. And it's like, wow. Yeah. I don't really like that version of me. I don't like all of the ways I showed up as that version of me, and a lot of it was because I lacked self-love. Because I lacked self-love, I made a lot of decisions that I don't appreciate. I said a lot of things that I don't appreciate, and I had to like sit with that and be like, oh wow. And once I started, you know, reading different books, The Four Agreements is one of my favorite books. I love The Four Agreements. I love
your word.
One of my favorite agreements, and The Alchemist. Those two books really just changed everything. It's like it just opened up my outlook.
Everybody's an alchemist.
Yeah.
Everybody
is.
If you can if you bring your idea to life, you're an alchemist. If you think about something and you believe it, you're an alchemist.
Yeah.
If you make food, you're an alchemist.
Yeah.
It's the ability to
I remember now.
change things.
Yeah, the ability to change, and anyone can change things. Going back to what we said, like, you are in control of your life and your experience. If you want things to be better, be a better person. If you want people to treat you better, are you treating people right?
Right.
And I feel like that's what it goes back to when we were talking about, like, do you feel like you're being a hypocrite? Once I started changing who I was, I started kind of feeling like a hypocrite, because it's like, I'm not the same person I was, and it's like, am I fake because I'm different now? And it's like, no, you're growing.
Not. You just change.
Exactly, and that's okay.
Good. It's okay.
You named your next project, the project that's about to come out.
Yeah.
Before Sunrise.
Yes.
Why'd you name it Before Sunrise?
So originally, Black Mercedes was gonna be on that project, and there's a voice thing in the beginning of it from the movie Before Sunrise with Ethan Hawke and I don't know the other woman's name. It's a great movie though. They got Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. So I was gonna title the song the project Before Sunrise because I really enjoyed that name.
Yeah.
But then over the 2 years, as I said, 2-3 years that I've been writing these songs, I come to understand like a lot of things happen before sunrise, and that's what the premise of the movie is. Like, you know, you might meet somebody, you might have a great conversation with them, and you know, you might never see them again, but you had that great time with them. So you have to experience these moments for what they are. And even with Before Sunrise, like I started practicing Islam about 4 years ago, and at sunset you can eat. At sunset, depending on how you live your religion, you can do whatever the hell you want. So you can do whatever you want before sunrise. But when that sunrise, are you going to stand on what it is that you did before sunrise? And that's what the project means to me now. Like, it didn't have that meaning when I first started it, but now it's like, all right, who are you in the dark?
Ooh,
like, who are you when nobody's like, what is your integrity like? Who are you when nobody's really there looking at, you know?
It's only God watching you. Who are you when it's only God watching you?
Exactly, and that's what it is before sunrise. Like, before that sun come back out, like, are you gonna be proud of the things that you did in the darkness? Because that shit is gonna come to light. So are you okay with that? Are you gonna live with that? And those are conversations that I would have to have myself about smoking, right? So like, if I'll be like, oh, I'm never smoking again. But then I hit a J and I'm like, oh, I gotta have this conversation with that guy. And it's like, all right, he gonna be cool with it, cause you know he loved me as many pieces of sand there on the beach. You know what I'm saying? But am I okay with that? Cause I gotta drive this thing. So if I'm not okay with it, that's gonna fuck me up. That's not gonna fuck nobody else up.
Exactly.
So am I gonna be okay with the things that I do before sunrise? And that is why the premise of the album is majority like conversations with self and self-love.
Yeah. I heard one of the songs off the new project and you talked about shadow work. What do you feel like shadow work is for you?
Listening to your old self, listening to the things around you, because there could be a lot going on around you and you're not really privy to it. You gotta ask yourself those questions, like your past self, your younger self, the self that you didn't really agree with, or you might not agree with now, but you gotta have those conversations and be like, damn bro, why did you do that? Or like, what is it that led you to do that? And asking yourself that why, so then you can, you know, decide, what do I want to do next, and like, what are your next actions going to be to get to be able to really stand in who this new person is.
With all the songs on Expressions, you kind of explore a different flow on every song. How do you make yourself comfortable enough to do that? Do you feel weird? Because it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like, am I being myself when I'm doing this? Like, does it feel uncomfortable when you're tapping into those different versions? Sometimes you're singing, sometimes you're like giving us like boom bap rap, sometimes you're giving us a little taste of kind of trap rap. Like, you're all over the place when it comes to your flows. How are you comfortable switching into those different lanes?
It's all me. I can hit a flow anytime.
Yeah.
And it's fun because, like I said earlier, it's different ways that you express yourself. Like, a different beat or a different woman might bring it might elicit a different response. So you gotta live up to it. If that's what it brings out of you, do that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm a trap rapper. No, I'm not.
But you like a little trap music sometimes.
Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But like, even on that same, if you're talking about Petty Cash on that same song, I'm singing falsetto on the same track. So it's like, come on, don't try to like put me in this box.
Don't
do that. Don't do that, because I'm nice like that. And it took me a little while to be able to like stand on that. Like, I listened to this artist Deavhon, and there's the end of a song where he's like I can hit a different flow every time, bitch. You know what I'm saying? And like, me putting together that project, like, I listen to that project like once a week, maybe.
Love that project.
That joint's going platinum because of me. I promise. But listening to that and understanding, like, yo, you can do whatever you want. Like, nobody's gonna stop you. Because if this is not my painting, right? But if I wanted to go and paint something like this, but then the next day I just wanted to paint stick figures,
Because it's your life.
do the hell whatever I want. Because who's gonna stop it?
Yeah. The only limitations are the limitations that you're putting on yourself.
Exactly.
Don't limit yourself. Don't box yourself in. You don't have to. What's next for you?
Well, I have Before Sunrise coming out.
Yes.
And that'll be cool. That'll come out eventually on Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
So buy that. Right now with music, it's just getting these out, getting these tracks out, and getting it to more people.
Yeah.
Like after these are out, I can understand. Like I want to be on stages. You know what I'm saying? But I was applying for certain shows or like a residency, but I didn't have a package.
Yeah.
Like I only had Black Mercedes out for 2 years, 3 years, and there was nothing to show for it other than like me doing videos.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But those are like for people that are not there. That's just an open mic.
Yeah.
So I had to have like the digital marketplace for, you know, somebody that does not know who I am. I have to be able to show them like, hey, I have the thing. Here are also videos of me doing these songs.
Yeah.
So like I have 2 years of footage for this project specifically that will carry me for applications that I might want to put out to whatever I want to put it out to. So the next step is like, you know, fully solidifying the package.
Yeah. What's one thing that you want to see come from the music scene, the local music scene, in the coming months, in the coming year?
More authentic communication between people. I think that a lot of time we communicate directly to each other as artists, and like from a place of like ego, of like I want my thing to move this way and I want my thing to do this. Instead of being like, alright, if we all were to come together and like do this like couple big things together with our things respectively, then that'll create more of the package for the city, or like for Baltimore specifically, and then also bridge those gaps between Baltimore and DC. Because I feel like, you know, somebody coming from DC PG to perform, like they might bring out like 100-some people in DC, but it's like, you know, you want to be able to go out of town and like get similar love of something, at least 10 people, you know what I'm saying, that came out from that city for you. I mean, where we are right now, but I've seen that. So I think my main thing is figuring out how to like make that road more accessible to like both sides, whether in the city between people or out of the city between, say, DC, Philly, Baltimore. I feel like those,
even New York,
you know what I'm saying? Like we've actually been trying to plan some shows in New York. So if you see this and you are wanting to bring these beautiful people,
amazing
to
artists,
New York or wherever,
holla.
You know what I'm saying?
You can get $1. Shout out DJ Dollar.
The Dollar Store. He's a great guy.
Well, I really want to thank you for being on Media Mondays.
Yes.
Good luck on everything you're doing.
Thank you.
I loved Expressions so much. I've loved seeing it live and everything you do. So, thank you. And thank you for watching. Please find him on everything. How can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DEAVH0N. That's DEAVH0N. My name is Deavhon, and I will see you next time.
Bye. This is Media Mondays, sponsored by PXL.